we're the smartest and the bestest.
We are. Yeah,
it's undeniable.
We don't make any mistakes.
Never, ever.
We see everything coming. So.
Speaking of seeing things coming, that could be a very bad setup depending on what I was going to say next.
It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight, Adam Markham. It is time to talk Dynasty edge rushers. We know y'all be loving some Dynasty rankings. This man right here, the best in the business. And tonight, we are going to be breaking down 1 through 12 of his Dynasty edge rushers. You can get those over at theidpshow.com. $5 a month. Addy, this is going through the notes. We're going to go 1 through 12 tonight. Part 2, we'll do 13 through 24. It is an embarrassment of riches right now with edge rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, it's in a very good spot, the position. And yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that too. Like if you're in a startup, like we're going to talk about a lot of guys that you're going to be very familiar with tonight. But I mean, I think the move is just to wait, just because, I mean, 13 through 40 is also very, very nice. Lots of upside in that bunch. Lots of good edge rushers, man. These guys these players are they understand that this position makes a ton of money. Like these guys are being trained well at a young age. And so I think that's why you're seeing, the position boom and us get so many good athletes at it.
Just freak athletes. I mean, I feel like we've been flooded with like a lot of like 9.5 RAS guys here in the last like 3 to 4 years. It's been insane how athletic these guys are. But yeah, we'll talk about it when we mention Myles Garrett making $40 million a year.
Yeah.
It's good to be a top tier edge rusher in the NFL. I mean, you're basically getting quarterback money at this point.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're going to go through 1 through 12 Dynasty edge rushers. And I agree with you. I think the move, because of the embarrassment of riches at this point, is to grab linebackers early. We'll talk about it in the Dynasty linebacker episodes later this summer. But like with how scarce that position is becoming, those are the guys I feel like maybe you grab like one anchor guy, but then I want to load up on some linebacker and then swoop back around later and grab some edge rushers. Like you said, 13 through 40, lot of good quality in there as well.
Yeah, your Will McDonald, your Yaya Diaby's, Dallas Turner's a guy, like I have him ranked very high. Like he'll be in this episode. Sorry, folks.
Spoiler alert.
That will anger some people, I know. But I think for the most part, like in a startup draft, like you can get Turner late, you can get Latu late. There's a lot of just still really, really good players that you can get late. It's going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, I mean, to talk draft strategy just for a sec here off the rip, I mean, I think that's the way to approach it is like, yes, these are rankings. Adam is very bullish and very ahead of the curve. These have always been very much like we want to be ahead of the curve, not be flattened by it when it comes rushing up. So you're going to see guys that are younger, like Abdul Carter is in this episode tonight. We're going to talk about Dallas Turner. And it may not feel the greatest if you had Dallas Turner year 1 in Dynasty, but this position ages well, and these elite guys are going to be good for a decade plus. And so even though we have Dallas Turner ranked here in this top 12, you don't have to take him top 12.
Right.
In a Dynasty startup, in most Dynasty startups, the league is not going to be that sharp on a guy like Dallas Turner.
Right.
So don't take him where he is ranked. Let him slide, scoop up the value, and then come back around later and get this guy later on in drafts.
Exactly. Ignore my rankings for the first 15 rounds. Don't look at them. You don't need to be thinking about IDP. Honestly, you really don't.
Stock up on that offense.
And also always remember, like, the trade value for these guys. Like, it's just not going to be there. Like, I mean, the most you could get for, like, a Micah Parsons would be what? Like, maybe someone gives you 2 first.
Right, maybe.
Right? If they're new to IDP league, like that doesn't happen like in a lot of like, established leagues.
Most of the guys, the top end dollar amount is going to be a first round pick.
Right. A first and then maybe a third.
Yeah, maybe you can get a third thrown in.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I think you just need to always keep that in mind. Like these guys can only get so valuable. Like you don't want to overinvest. You also don't want to invest too early in them.
Right. So let's talk about it though, because if you are going to invest, I mean, these are the premium assets for IDP Dynasty Fantasy Football because, like we said, they age the best. They're freak of nature athletes. They're, especially if you play in leagues like we advocate for, big 3 scoring, big play, these are going to be your top scorers year in and year out. So they are the assets that you want to hold. You just don't want to overinvest relative to offense. But let's jump in with the guy topping the list, Addy, and it is Dallas Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons. I think it gets a little bit lost. We mentioned this on the Dynasty rankings episode, Addy. I think a lot of people check out like around Halloween to Thanksgiving range. And so if you did that, you probably missed how damn good Micah Parsons was to end the season. I mean, absolutely on fire by Big Three scoring 18.45 points per game, 7th overall, second amongst edge rushers during that stretch. Let's talk about the contract. Myles Garrett, $40 million per year. Micah Parsons still waiting for that contract because Jerry Jones is always a day late and a dollar short. I think he's going to surpass that. And here's the thing, Addy. I think the market has not appreciated Micah Parsons in the way that they should for two reasons. Either their scoring system is whack, or he's on platforms where he's been labeled as a linebacker. And so for those two reasons, I just feel like the market is not really in on this dude to the extent that they should be.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Is it because he's a cowboy maybe as well?
A little bit of
he's got a podcast that
right.
People don't like that he's maybe outspoken.
Just a little bit of like fatigue with this guy.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons.
And I mean, I don't want to throw too much shade at him as like a person, but he does seem like the type that could rub you the wrong way a little bit.
I get it.
But I mean, I don't see what you can not like about this dude. I mean, DL 8 in points per game in 2024, DL 10 in 2023, DL 4 in 2022. PFF grades have been ridiculous. 90.0 overall PFF grade last season. That was 6th among edge rushers. And that's the same like every single year. 92.7 in 2023, 91.6 in 2022, 89.8 as a rookie. 5.4 pressures per game last season. That was 2nd among edge rushers. First was Aidan Hutchinson, who missed 12 games, right?
Right.
So probably would have been a lot closer with him and Aidan Hutchinson, I think. But yeah, I mean he's got everything he wants. Still just 26 years old, so I mean I feel like he's just now starting to enter his prime, about to get paid bukus of money. So not someone we're going to really have to worry about, I think, slowing down anytime soon. Like I expect to see him be talked about like we talk about Khalil Mack,
right.
when he's like 33, 34. Like I've always kind of compared those guys to each other. They remind me a lot of each other. But yeah, we still got, I think, 5 to 6 years of this guy finishing as a top 10 edge rusher. So I mean, that's just super, super valuable. But right now I think we're kind of entering the peak, right? Tough time to probably trade for him. And it's a tough time to sell him too, because like you mentioned to start, like for whatever reason, people would just kind of sleep on him a little bit. I don't know. I think if you don't hit 15 sacks every single season, it's
right.
like this guy sucks, But I think we're going to get there. I think that we could see him get a little more consistent.
So maybe. You think he has that kind of ceiling?
I think so. I think we could see him, go nuts for like a 17, 18 sack season like we saw out of Hines Allen that one year.
Right. I think that's one thing we'll talk about with Myles Garrett is we have not really seen, at least the last, 3 years here. I kind of look at the elite ceiling for these guys is like 300 points by Big Three scoring.
Right.
Is like you're finishing probably as IDP 1, 2, or 3 if you crack 300 points. 210 for Parsons last year again. Did not play a full season, 283, 285. So he's right there. He's like knocking on the door of that elite ceiling, and I think we're going to get that. I love what they have done around him now, bringing in Azaraku, even losing DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, I think replacing him with Azaraku, and then you still have Sam Williams there. You still have Marshawn Nealon there. So I think he's got some help on that defense.
Yeah. The offense is good and improved.
Pickens there now.
Dak's healthy and back. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, there's going to be a lot of shootouts between them and their opponents. And
I don't know how good that defense is going to be, but
that's good, though, I think.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I do like what they've done along the defensive line to help this guy out.
I agree, yeah.
So, Micah Parsons.
They've tried every year for the past 3
exactly.
years.
And we'll see how DeMarcus Lawrence, who was very salty about getting let go by the Cowboys, kind of chirping him when he lands there in Seattle. So, but from one Texas team to another, let's talk about Will Anderson, Houston Texans, your number 2 edge for Dynasty leagues. This dude took the step, Addy, that we wanted him to take in 2024. Let's talk about the playoffs for a second. 22% pressure rate, 3.5 sacks in 2 games in the playoffs. The final 5 games of 2024, 26 pressures, 5 sacks, 5 QB hits, 10 tackles. I think the Danielle Hunter addition was huge for Will Anderson. I think he took that step that we wanted to see in year 2, which we'll get into here in a second. He's healthy. He's 23.8 years old. I mean, again, talk about the step from year 1 in 2023. He was DL 41 in points per game, 11.4. DL 47 in total points, 171.6. Let's fast forward to 2024. DL 14 in points per game, 14.7. DL 18 in total points, 205.9. What I also like to see, Addy, was the improvement in the PFF grade. 2023, 81.8 overall. That was 21st amongst edge rushers. Last year, 85.1. That was 10th best. So he has improved in every area of his game. This defense is sick. I love his running mate in Danielle Hunter. I love the head coach, D'Amico Ryans. I love the talent they've got around this guy. I mean, I think you could make a very strong case for Will Anderson as the number 1 dynasty edge as well.
Yes, absolutely. I was going to say, I have no issue if you want to put him at 1 either. Yeah, 23.8 years of age, so 2 years younger than Parsons. And, I mean, yeah, we keep seeing him take a step up every single year. 14.7 last year, DL 14. I think we could see him enter into that, Micah Parsons range where he's 16, 17 points per game. But yeah, I mean, just super, super valuable. He's someone that I wish I had more of, but, again, not trading for him, probably not drafting him in startups.
Right. I think he's going a little too high, probably in rookie drafts, going too high in startups.
I think, and also, I think he might be going a little too high in best ball, too.
I think he is as well.
He goes 7, 8 range usually, sometimes higher than that.
I'd rather have Danielle Hunter, who's going later.
I'd rather have Hunter. I'd rather have Van Ginkel.
I'd rather have Zach Bond.
A lot of those guys.
Go linebacker
right.
there. If I'm sitting there in that kind of 7 to 8 range in D-up drafts, that's where I'm flipping the switch to typically Zach Bond.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Will Anderson, but I would love him a lot more as a second-round selection, IDP
right.
only.
Right. He's just – the market loves him some Will Anderson, and we can't blame him. I mean, it's not every day that you have a guy who a team invested so much in. Again, 3rd overall pick, I believe, behind Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. Texans trade up to take this guy, and he's everything we wanted him to be, right? He has – a really solid first year and then makes strides in year 2. And, I mean, assuming health, I don't think there's any reason to think that's going to change going into year 3.
Yeah, rock solid as it gets. I mean, college, he was a can't-miss prospect. The breakout age was great, immediately productive at Alabama, athletic freak. We didn't get all the combine, but, I mean, I feel like he would have tested very well across the board.
Oh, he'd have been one of these RAS freaks, too.
But yeah, just the perfect type of player, what you look for at edge. So yeah, I'd say he's going to be pretty much in most smart people's top 3.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think this next one is where it kind of gets a little bit interesting though, Addy, because I would make the case that your number 3 edge, Aidan Hutchinson, Detroit Lions, had he not got injured, would have been number 1 with the bullet.
Easily.
Yeah. I mean, this guy was on a 24.5 point per game pace in 2024. 7.5 sacks in 5 games, 19 tackles.
He did have a 5-sack performance though.
Right. Yes, games. He had a 60-point game, I think, in week 2.
That helps.
That helps a lot.
Does help.
But it's nice that you have a player who has that in his bag of tricks. That is a week-winning type of performance from Aidan Hutchinson.
It's him and T.J. Watt. And there's a few.
Khalil Mack,
guys.
I think did
he
Mack
had
do it?
A 70-point game.
Yes, insane.
That was when he sacked O'Connell, I think, 6 times.
O'Connell was still just seeing ghosts of Khalil Mack when he shuts his eyes every night. It's forget the Darnold ghost. Aidan O'Connell will never sleep well again after that performance.
No, it's tough.
Now, the double leg break was very bad. Aidan Hutchinson, shriveled leg video aside, says he's been fully cleared. So that's great to hear. I know I hate on-pace stats. I think they're dumb. But he was on pace for 25.5 sacks and 64 tackles. Just to give you some context around how absurd that start to the season was. I don't think he gets there, but he probably would have notched like 18 to 20 sacks pretty easily last year, I feel like.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned with Micah Parsons at 5.4 pressures per game, 9 pressures per game for Aidan Hutchinson.
Right.
Just
so
ridiculous.
The underlying metrics were there. This wasn't some like crazy fluky outlier thing where he was just getting sack luck. He was doing the things that lead to sacks on an astronomical scale compared to everyone else. Mentioned 24.5 points per game. Speaking of, that's also his age. He's entering his 4th season. His 5th-year option has been picked up. So this is going to be a contract year for Aidan Hutchinson. I don't think we've talked about that yet, but he does have the option picked up for 26. But this guy, a lot of those guys want to sign new deals going into that sort of 5th-year option year. They don't want to play out that 5th-year option year with no safety net. So I think Hutch is going to be like extremely motivated to get back on the field. I feel like as the kind of guy he is, he probably feels like he let his team down being out for the playoffs, because I mean, you could kind of feel it. Like they had no spine in that, and they were so decimated with injuries at that point. But I mean, losing Hutchinson, it kind of felt like this team was just sort of out of it at that point.
Too much to overcome.
Right, just too much to overcome. But I think Hutch is going to be motivated to kind of get back on the field, play well, get himself a big contract next offseason. I mean, 94.9 overall PFF grade last year, 95 pass rush grade. Those were both number 1 in the NFL amongst edge rushers, 22.7% pressure rate in 2024. That is insane. Again, I know it was only 5 games, but that is literally nuts. His pass rush win rate, y'all, 38.3. The next closest was Myles freaking Garrett at 23.1. Had he not broken his leg, I think he's number 1 on the list. I mean, I think that we were robbed of something truly special. I've said this several times before on this show, but I'm really excited to see what Hutch does. I think he's going too early in some IDP only right now. I want to be a little cautious just because, like, let's see it first. And I'll admit that I could be wrong and could be underdrafting a guy that could go out and put up 20 sacks this year and win you some leagues. But man,
I'd be surprised.
I just kind of want to see it first. I'm willing to be wrong on that because I think there's quite a bit of downside risk as well.
Right. I'm looking at my best ball ranks right now. I've drafted no Aidan Hutchinson this offseason. I have him as overall 21. That's DL 14.
Are you just worried about the recovery being maybe a little bit longer than what we're anticipating?
I'm expecting just a slower year for him.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he's not gonna pick right up where he left off. I don't think. I think it's gonna be. I'm expecting like an 8 to 11 sack season, 9 to 11. Never forget.
It was right there, sitting right there for you.
Maybe we can cut this.
No, I'm absolutely not cutting this. This is staying in.
But
want people to know you blew it. I need them to know that.
One of the
As good as those ranks are, this is
pretty bad.
This is a bad moment for you.
It's a bad look for me.
Got to do better.
But yeah, I love Aidan Hutchinson. I just worry that this year is just going to be not, what we're used to, or not what we were seeing last season. Just because, I mean, God, it was an awful injury.
Awful injury.
And then
think about Dak. Like Dak is it's a different injury with Dak, but I think his was compound fracture, like ankle, I think. But it took Dak a good season plus, like and into that second season, to really get back to full strength and trusting his leg again.
Right. And especially the position that Aidan plays.
It's all push off.
All of it, man.
Right.
Like if he was like a linebacker or a safety, like you would feel a little better about trusting him year 1, I think, But yeah, with him needing to push off that leg and really trust that leg and bend is so important. It's not good. Not good.
And the video
short term.
In the video we saw, I kind of made fun of it, but like,
I didn't think he looked great.
I'm not a doctor. I am not any sort of medical trainer professional, but I was like, it looks like the leg is smaller.
Yep.
It looks like he's favoring it.
Yeah.
And he might have been fully cleared, but that doesn't mean he's fully recovered.
Right.
And I think we need to keep that in mind. Even though I am optimistic, I think he's going to be a very usable IDP. I think the optimism is a little misplaced for what a reasonable outcome for him is this year.
It's going to be a process for him to trust it. Like, I mean, if, think about like during the season, if any type of little tweak happens to it, like he's gonna, lose some trust in the leg. There's just a lot that could go wrong. But overall, like, I'm not worried about him. Like,
Dynasty-wise, yeah.
Yeah, like, I just expect, like, a little bit of a down year. Like, people aren't going to give you, like, what you would have gotten last season before the injury. So I think you just need to be prepared to be patient right now.
Could be a good little buy window if he kind of disappoints.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's going to be a lot of people trying to buy.
Right.
Like, I think we'll probably talk about that quite a bit on the show if that were to happen.
If it's like the first, week 3 recap and it's like Hutchinson has a sack and a half.
Right.
And has scored, 8 points, 10 points, and 2.5 points, we're going to be like, do we just cut Aidan Hutchinson at this point?
Yeah, right. And
that conversation, I feel like, is coming.
But that's kind of like the world I expect, honestly. Like, I expect him to be slow out of the gate.
I think it's one of those where I think the Lions will be in the mix in the NFC, and you could see him really turning it on sort of in the back half of the season.
Yeah,
that's what we see a lot with these guys coming off of injuries where they're cleared to start the season. Like, I think Rashawn Gary did this, where he really came on strong, snap-wise. The team trusted him a lot more. Like, what do his snaps look like? Do they try to, like, ramp him up slowly to start the season?
Yeah, another good point.
We'll see.
I mean, he was someone that was getting, like, Maxx Crosby usage, like
exactly
85, 90% type usage. And so, like, yeah, you would expect him to probably be more in, like, the 60 to 70% range, at least to start. So that's going to just because of that.
Full bore for him this season. If he's fully healthy and feeling great, I still think he probably caps out closer to like 75% of snaps.
I would think so.
I just don't think they're going to be like, let's have you play pretty much every snap on that leg.
But, I mean, they really need him to.
That's the kind of thing they do.
Because they still didn't really address the position.
God
like
bless. Can we please get
They got Davenport back in the building, right?
Oh, carb face.
Lost Darius Smith.
Yep. Smith's gone. Not a lot there.
Yeah, man, they had some opportunities to address it too. Like they
some nice beef in the middle, but yeah, the edge group is still just a whole bunch of butt outside of Aidan Hutchinson. So let's go on.
There's a lot of good edge rushers.
I know.
Detroit, this isn't that tough. Like we can get a few
guys.
Go get
Khalil Mack. Go get Josh Sweat. We were trying to give them one of these guys in free agency, and they're like, no, let's
trust that this is going to be just fine.
Let's bring Marcus Davenport back. Surely his 6th season, he'll be healthy the whole year.
He knows a thing or two about injuries.
Right, exactly. He can be a good mentor for Hutch. Let's talk about
He's got a half pinky, I think, right? Or something. Remember, didn't he have a weird injury?
Yes, I think he did. I think he lost a pinky. I think you're right.
It's tough.
That's a tough scene. It was not a tough scene in Los Angeles. Jared Verse was a revelation last season for the Los Angeles Rams, the reigning defensive rookie of the year. Clocks in here number 4 for you. Just a really good season. Fantasy-wise, it wasn't, I think, as spectacular maybe as we've made it out to be in retrospect, but all the underlying stuff was really good, Addy, for Jared Verse.
Really, really good. Yeah, 86.2 overall PFF grade. That was 9th among edge rushers. Again, as a rookie, that's just super impressive. 7th in pressures per game, 4.5 pressures per game. 9th best pressure rate. That was 15.9%. 19.6 pass rush win rate. That was 6th among edge rushers. And then, the points per game, 11 points per game. That was 35th among defensive linemen. And 186.5 total points. That was DL25. And his weird was year. His weird was year.
It was a year was weird.
It was a very weird year for him, just because he started out the season pretty hot. I feel like he was first 8 weeks was like
top 5 DL something like that. He was in fuego,
and then really really cooled down the second half. But like we mentioned, the metrics were still very good. So I just think he was unlucky in the sack department. What I love about Jared Verse is the tackles for him. He's going to be a guy that gives us a nice floor. I think I expect him to be between 50 to 60 tackles every single season. And then I think we're going to see him have a nice little ceiling as far as sacks. I think we could see him, maybe touch 15 once in his NFL career. But I think he's going to be in that 11 to 13 range, and basically live inside the top 12 for us for the next 5-6 years, I think.
He dominated that playoff game. I was watching that in Las Vegas wildcard weekend against your Vikes.
Hated it.
Yeah, you probably viewed it a little bit differently, but I was.
But at a certain point, you're like, well,
you just got to admire what this guy's doing.
Yeah,
he was wrecking the Minnesota offensive line. To speak to what you mentioned there, 14.56 points per game, weeks 1 through 9, 7.66. So basically about half of his output, weeks 10 through 18. That's available. TheIDPShow.com, $5 a month, best ball spreadsheet Adam has put together, the splits for you all as well. But Jared Verse, another guy I love for Dynasty. I think he's being overdrafted.
I agree.
Kind of along the same lines as Will Anderson.
Sure.
A lot of these vets, like I use your rankings, no shame, for my D-up rankings.
Everybody does.
And
also you are gonna lose if you don't.
Right. And the market, though, I'm thankful to be in there with folks who aren't using your rankings, because you want to know who my number one rostered D lineman is? It's your number one overall best ball ranked guy, TJ Watt. The market in there is fading the hell out of TJ Watt.
Oh my God.
I mean, I've gotten him at 6th, 7th overall quite frequently.
That's insane. I think I've got maybe one share of him, and that was when I had like the first overall pick. You know?
Yeah.
Now I will say I've gotten a lot of Bosa. Same type thing.
I saw Bosa at 110.
I've gotten him there a few times.
That's insane.
That's nuts.
That is absolutely insane. So, yes, in best ball redraft, I'm still looking at those types of guys, those like high ceiling veterans that we've just seen it from time and time and time again over these guys. I think this is where a lot of like dynasty brain seeps in with redraft drafters or best ball drafters, is like, guys, these dudes are awesome. Like, there's no doubt about it. But you don't get their points next year. You just get their points this year.
Right.
And yeah, these guys could absolutely, Verse and Anderson could vault themselves into that 300-point category. Absolutely in the range of outcomes. But I'll just bet on the guys who've done it more consistently, who've come close to touching that ceiling or actually done it at some point in their career.
Yeah, we just tend to get a little too optimistic with some of these young guys, I think. But yeah, I haven't drafted any Jared Verse.
I don't think I have any Jared Verse in there.
Or any Will Anderson this offseason.
I think I have maybe 1 or 2 shares of Anderson. Like I said, TJ Watt is far and away my most rostered defensive lineman.
I think
him and Josh Allen.
Josh
Funny
Hines
enough.
Allen is
3rd round. Josh Hines Allen. Like, what are we doing?
He was a great value. Brian Burns was I see him kind of creeping up more, but I was getting him like in the 3rd round in a lot of leagues. But yeah, I think Hines Allen's probably my highest down. Also Van Ginkel, I have no problem taking him in the 1st. Like I'll take him at the, and you don't normally have to. I normally get him like
you can get him at the turn usually.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you want to play D-Up, this contest we're mentioning, it's over on Fast Draft. It's a lot of fun. 10 teams, 6 players. Drafts take 5 to 6 minutes. Use our code IDP Show. $50 deposit match. Come draft with us. It's a lot of fun.
And you can use those best ball ranks for this contest.
That's what I'd actually recommend is if you're a subscriber, take Adam's best ball rankings. You can go into the app, click on your little initial in the upper left-hand corner. There's a My Rankings page. Fill those bad boys out. Take Adam's rankings. This is what I did. No shame. Went right through and pumped Adam's rankings straight in there. Top 75 or so, just in case I want to grab some undrafted guys. And then, yeah, once you set your rankings, you are ready to rock and roll. But get in there and draft with us, guys. It's so much fun. The contest is half filled. It is $2,000 to first place with a $10,000 prize pool.
I want their subs to win all the money.
That's right. One of our subs, if it's not one of us, we want one of the subs to win the money.
Probably going to be one of us.
It's probably going to be one of us. I'm almost max entered. There's 33 max entries. I'm sitting at 32. I'm just saving that last one. I don't know when I'm going to blow it, but I will blow it at some point.
It'll be a special night.
Special night indeed.
You'll be on the toilet, though, honestly.
Absolutely going to do it on the toilet. So let's talk about San Francisco 49ers. Nick Bosa is your 5th-ranked Dynasty edge rusher. Now, I don't know that we talked about ceiling with these edge rushers. I don't know that we're ever going to see the heights Bosa hit in 2022. 20.7 points per game, 1st among DL. He was insane that season. We might not see that, but here's what I like about Bosa, Addy. He has never had fewer than 50 tackles in a season once in the years where he was not injured, aside from his rookie season when he had 47. That is a great, great floor for Nick Bosa that I don't think we talk about or appreciate enough. Not only does he have this insane sack upside, but this really awesome tackle floor. He's been present at voluntary OTAs, which he usually trains on his own. I think that's an encouraging sign. The hype is building for Mykel Williams, turning heads in camp apparently. Williams said that Bosa has been helping him out a lot. So we may finally have some competent young edge help opposite Nick Bosa. But, I mean, we talked about the underlying stuff with Jared Verse. I mean, Nick Bosa was still getting it done in 2024 with the underlying stuff.
91.0 overall PFF grade. That was 4th among edge rushers. 16.4% pressure rate. That was also 4th. 4.9 pressures per game. That was 3rd. 20% pass rush win rate. That was 4th. Just elite. And then fantasy production, DL 9 in points per game in 2024. That was 15.7 points per game. DL 14 in 2023 with 15.3 points per game. And then DL 1 with that 20.7 point per game season. But yeah, just elite, man. And then like the PFF grades, like he's never been lower than an 84.9. He's been in the 90s the last 3 seasons. Career pressure rate's elite. Just everything's elite. This dude's a stud. You do worry about, just because of the last name, you do worry about him breaking down
Right.
a little bit.
Bosa's already injured in Buffalo Bills camp.
Yeah. And then, Nick he does seem to be a lot sturdier than Joey.
Right.
But he has been banged up. He's also torn his ACL before.
Right. Missed a full season in 2020.
So, as these guys get older, like that is the worry a little bit with Bosa, that he could get hurt or he could start to break down. But for the most part, like he doesn't seem to be like his brother in that way. Like he's given us, I think, more than we could have hoped for to start his career. But,
yeah, and only 27.6 years old.
Yeah.
That is not as old
Very young.
as I thought Nick Bosa. I thought Bosa would have been like 28.9, 29.3, something like that. But not even 28 yet. You got to love that.
Yeah, entering his 7th season. So, yeah, that is surprising.
He came into the league young, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. What do you think about this 49ers team? It feels like this might be kind of like a little bit of a reset year with the amount of talent they've lost, especially on that defense. Dre Greenlaw gone. Talanoa Hufanga is gone. They lost Hargrave. They lost
Debo on offense.
They lost Debo on offense. They lost the cornerback because he's with the Colts now.
Yeah, Charvarius
Ward. So it just feels like, remember the Bills a couple years ago had to shed like all this cap and they lost all these veterans, and it's like, well, I guess it's over for the Bills. I kind of felt this way about the Rams last year, where they kind of reset, took some younger players, kind of took their medicine. So who knows? I don't want to bet against good coaches.
Right.
But that team, I think I heard it said very well by Derek Klassen on the Athletic Football Show. That team went from having like 10 dudes down to like 4 or 5 dudes, And so like you've just kind of gutted this team of like those sort of like super like very, very good or elite level players. Because, who's left now? It's Fred Warner, who just got paid. Shout out, Fred. Shout out your dad as well. Hope he's doing well.
Especially your dad, yeah.
Especially your dad. Nick Bosa, obviously. George Kittle, obviously, is... those guys...
Ayuk, and they were unlucky with Ayuk. They
Right.
paid him $20 million, plus per year, and then he immediately tears his ACL.
Just bad luck. But
Right.
I think you could make the case they have 3 guys who are arguably number 1 at their position in the NFL.
Right.
I think
The
Fred
defense is
Warner,
good.
Yes, I think that we like the fact they brought in Nick Martin.
Yes.
At linebacker.
My most drafted linebacker as far as rookies goes.
There you go. Look at you.
Yep.
4th round pick, probably mostly.
Sheesh.
May have even gotten him later than that.
5th, and I've got him in
Right.
the 5th. I've got him in the 6th.
So, yeah, I kind of logically, it makes sense to say the Niners aren't going to be as good this year. But good teams, it's like I worry about that a little bit. My gut's like, do you want to really count out these good teams?
Yeah, no, they can still get it.
They can figure it out.
Yeah, I think you expect Ayuk to be, better, a year removed from the injury. McCaffrey should hopefully be back and okay.
Fantasy drafters are drafting him like he's going to be okay.
2nd round pick.
He's creeping up towards the 1st. I think he's going to end up.
He'll get there.
Probably late 1st, middle 1st, maybe.
If he looks like himself this offseason,
that's a steal.
he'll get bumped up.
But I think Bosa just feels like a lot of these guys are being slept on. Again, Bosa at 110. What in the world are we doing here?
Yeah, that's crazy. Like what did I just say? DL 9 in points per game last season. DL 14 2023. DL 1 in 2022.
This guy should be going closer
stuff.
to the start of the 1st round, not the end.
Just not a lot of risk, which
Right.
is really what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking to take big swings. I think we know what to expect out of Bosa, and it's like 50 to 60 tackles and
Right.
12 to 15 sacks.
You can pretty much take it to
I'll
the bank.
take that all day long in the 1st round.
All day long. Well, let's talk about a guy who missed a little bit of time last year, and I know it really ate at him because he's a dog. And we are talking about Maxx Crosby, Las Vegas Raiders, Adams' edge rusher, number 6. He was the IDP 1 overall by Big Three scoring in 2022, IDP 3 in 2023, and then IDP 56. That was DL 20 last season. The market is still very bullish on Mad Maxx. He is 5th in D-Up and 5th in our ADP as well. I think let's lay out the case. Factors going in Mad Maxx's favor. He got paid 3 years, $106.5 million, $91.5 million guaranteed. He's back to 100% source himself. Malcolm Kuntz, Adam Butler, Tyree Wilson, maybe Christian Wilkins. There's been a little bit of injury concern with Christian Wilkins alongside him. New head coach in Pete Carroll, but the same defensive coordinator. So you like that he has a head coach upgrade, but also some continuity with the defensive coordinator. Factors going against Mad Maxx. Grades declined in 2024. Overall, run defense, pass rush, lowest since 2020. Just an 11.7% pressure rate, 51st, and 12.7% pass rush win rate, which was tied for 43rd amongst edge rusher. And shout out PFF for all these stats. The insane snaps per game, Addy, I think are really starting to take a toll. 64 snaps per game the last 3 seasons for Maxx Crosby. The next closest in 2024, y'all, Wicked DJ Wanham and Aidan Hutchinson, 56 per game. Now, Maxx is a dog. I do think he will want to prove himself after getting paid and missing time, but there's some tread on the tires with Maxx. And he is the one of kind of these big established guys, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, sort of the older veterans, not the younger class with like Verse and Anderson. And Hutch is kind of in between those two groups. But Maxx is the one of sort of these big established veterans that I'm just a little bit worried about, because is the wear and tear going to start to take a toll on Maxx Crosby?
I think if you listen to this version of what we did last season,
we said the same thing.
Same thing. Like,
and then what ended up happening?
He broke down.
Right.
And that's been the trend with him the last few years. There's a reason why we haven't really seen guys at his position get this type of snap share. I think it's because of that stuff. And then like with the PFF stuff, like not being really prolific. What was it, like 11.7% pressure rate last season, 51st among edge rushers. You got to wonder, like, is the volume, like, limiting his effectiveness towards the end of these games, or as the season wears on? I mean, it would make sense to me, right? I mean, I think the body is definitely the wearing down.
There's a reason we don't see guys at his position playing 90% of snaps.
At least not for long, right? I mean, you can do it for 3-4 years like he's done, but at a certain point, I think that they'll have to have a conversation about, we got to limit him a little bit.
We just paid
if he
you.
keeps getting hurt.
That's kind of what I wonder a little bit is, new coach, new deal. Do we see a more reasonable workload for Maxx Crosby in 2025? Could he be around like 80 to 85% of snaps as opposed to touching 95% of snaps?
I think that would be smart for them. But, Maxx is one of these guys where I think he's gonna try and stay out there.
He seems to have a lot of sway in that organization, and kind of like the Lions, they need this guy.
Very true.
I mean, they've got some nice pieces there that we like, but he is so far and away their best defensive player. It's not even funny.
Yeah, and I mean, Malcolm Kuntz, like, who knows? Like, he is coming off the ACL himself, and then, like you mentioned, Christian Wilkins. I think Christian Wilkins, we didn't get to see him last year really at all. I think the first, 3-4 games, right? But we worried last year that, like, maybe he cuts into, Maxx's tackles and the tackle numbers that we're used to seeing him put up. And, like, we'll get to kind of have a better look at that this year. So that could also be a thing that starts to tick down too, is the tackle numbers, which has really made Maxx Crosby what he is. I mean, dude put up like close to 100 tackles a couple seasons ago.
It's insane. There's a reason he was the IDP 101 overall that season.
Yeah.
So, 2024, Christian Wilkins played 5 games for the Raiders. So,
but yeah, Maxx, I mean, I think, similar to Bosa, we've seen his peak. I don't think we're going to see him get back to that 20 point per game, 19.3 in 2023. I don't think we're going to see him
back to back 300-point seasons.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like 340, 328. Like, guys just don't do that.
Yeah.
I think he's going to settle comfortably in the range like we see here DL 10 in points per game, 15.6. That feels
15 to 17. That
Right.
feels like Maxx Crosby going forward.
I think I look at Nick Bosa the same way.
Right.
I think there is ceiling there, but with these guys being a little bit advanced in their career, I think the likelihood of hitting that ceiling outcome consistently over the next like half decade is less than what it would be for guys like Verse and Anderson and Hutch that are still young and ascending. But the floor is so high for guys like Maxx and Bosa. And so that's why I think even with some of the concerns we have, even with them getting a little bit older, that's the reason you still see these guys so high up in the ranks.
Right. And they'll still, like, think about Khalil Mack still getting paid crazy money. Von Miller got a massive deal a few years ago when he was like 33, 34. So, I mean, like, that'll be what happens. As long as the
body
health
holds up.
remains, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it allows them to. That'll be what happens with these guys, too. So, just good players, they're going to be around. They're going to be players you want on your team.
Right. Let's talk about Myles Garrett, another guy you want on your team. He is your 7th-ranked Dynasty edge rusher. And like we mentioned, the highest paid by AAV, $40 million per year on the new deal that he signed. He has had double-digit sacks every season except his rookie year when he had 7 sacks. He's arguably the most consistent edge rusher for IDP since he entered the league. But what you don't see with him is that elite ceiling that we've mentioned, again, around 300 points by Big Three scoring that you get from some of these other guys. We just mentioned that with Maxx Crosby and Nick Bosa. We're going to talk about TJ Watt a little bit later. He has this kind of ceiling. Combined with his age, he's 29.4, so a little older than you might think. I think that's what put him, that's why if I'm kind of putting myself inside your brain, which is a very scary place to be, a very sexual place to be. There's a lot of psychosexual energy in there. Yeah. I think that's probably why you have Garrett down here at 7 behind some of these other guys, age. And look, I mean, as consistent as they come since 2022, 17.7 points per game, 17.2 points per game. Last year, 16.5 points per game. I mean, DL7, DL8, DL3 in 2022. Top 10 DL the last 3 years. I mean, just super duper consistent.
He is my number 2 overall player in best ball.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Right? 281, 275, 283. His point outputs the last 3 years literally fall within an 8-point band. That's insane. There is no one who has that kind of consistency over the last 3 years.
Yeah. He's so good. And, like, I mean, do you expect this to slow down? I mean, they just made him the highest paid edge rusher ever. Like,
all of these teams that gave these guys massive deals or have given these guys, they need these guys. Yeah. There's not, like, aside from like Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson situation here, and we'll talk about the Giants situation, but like most of these teams, it's like these dudes are on an island all by themselves in terms of talent
of the franchise.
Right, exactly.
They're on the tickets. Like, yeah, I mean, and also like, it's just him there. Like they haven't really done much to help Myles Garrett either. Like Myles Garrett should be able to get as much production as he wants. There shouldn't be.
It's like Cleveland. What I know you're really cash strapped because you made a deal with the devil with Deshaun Watson, but you got to pay Myles Garrett. Like it was always insane to me. People were talking about where will Myles Garrett land? It's like nowhere. Cleveland would be idiotic. They would burn the stadium to the ground if Myles Garrett got away.
I mean, what could they even, like, would they have gotten a first? Do you think would a team? I mean, a team should have been willing to trade.
A team would have given 2 first-round picks.
I just feel like Cleveland would have been dumb and like messed it up and like, well, we could only get a second because
they traded back out of Travis Hunter and took Mason Graham. Like, I'm not trusting that team to use those draft picks.
Right.
So I'm glad they got him paid. I'm glad dude got his money. You had some fun stats down here at the bottom as well, Eddie. I don't want to skip over.
Yeah, it's 23.1% pass rush win rate last season. That was first among edge rushers. 17.4% pressure rate. That was second. 4.9 pressures per game. That was fourth. 10 games with at least 15 fantasy points in 2024. That was tied for first with AVG. Shout out to AVG.
AVG.
Slept on.
You got him in the auction.
I did. Yeah. Dude, the auction was so good to me. I was just grinning.
Just from ear to ear, like grinning. A Cheshire cat?
I was grinning.
Like the Grinch on Christmas?
I was grinning.
It was...
Buda Baker, AVG. I couldn't believe...
that defense was stacked, yeah.
I was expecting to pay like 15, 20 per for AVG, and also like Buda Baker, same thing.
Yep.
got AVG for like 11 per, got Buddha for like 7 million per.
Yeah, it's
like,
beautiful.
It's like you guys want me to win again.
We do.
So,
We just want you to.
shout out the league. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for that.
It's been a rough year for me, so I mean, I needed this.
He does not need this. He's doing just fine, guys. Let's go on to your number 8 guy, though, and it's a guy you've heard us talk about quite a bit. Why? Because he was the consensus number 1 edge coming into this year's draft. It is Abdul Carter, now of the New York Giants. I think it's fair if we have maybe some questions, Addy, about Abdul Carter headed into his rookie season. What's the playing time split going to look like alongside Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau? His health, he had the stress reaction in his foot pre-draft. I think that it's reasonable to be optimistic that we will see a healthy Abdul Carter. That's my hope. I want that for Abdul Carter. I think it's wise to probably temper expectations for this year a little bit, unless you are just really bullish that Abdul Carter is already leaps and bounds better than Kayvon Thibodeau, because of the two that I think could lose snaps to Abdul Carter, I would probably say it's Kayvon. I kind of feel like we're maybe headed for a Colts situation where there's just a big mix of 3 guys. For the Colts, it was Kwity Paye, it was Dayo Odengbo, and Leatu Latu all playing like 65 to 50% of snaps. That's kind of what I'm envisioning here, because I don't think you can keep Abdul Carter off the field. I think he's too talented, and you invested the number 3 overall pick in him. This is a guy going way too early in these D-up drafts. I don't think he's draftable in a format like that where it's only the top 60 guys and roughly like the top 25 or so edge or DL. Because I think I want to be in on Abdul Carter in year 1 because he's such a fun player. But we've gotten out over our skis before with rookie edge rushers, and it's come back to bite us. So I want to take some caution with Abdul Carter in year 1. But long term, I mean, this is a great landing spot. He's going to be playing opposite Brian Burns potentially for the long term. And the team invested a number 3 overall pick in him. So a lot to like for Dynasty.
Yeah, and I mean, it is going to clear up with Kayvon getting out of town at some point. There's no way they can keep all these guys together. Like, and also, like, whoever that third edge rusher is, they're not going to sign up to, play third fiddle. Right.
They're going to want to go get their money somewhere else.
Yeah, it's just they want to make more money. They'll make more money by being productive.
And somebody will throw a bag at Kayvon.
Yeah.
Or trade for him. They said they're going to pick up his 5th-year option. I think the move is slow roll Abdul Carter, let him get his feet under him, play him 50% of snaps or whatever, year 1, and then trade Kayvon for, I don't know, 3rd-round pick or something, 4th-round pick next year, and then fully unleash Abdul Carter alongside Brian Burns.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm still somewhat optimistic about Kayvon this year. I actually drafted him in the 8th round today in IDP only best ball.
Yeah.
Thrilled with that.
I mean, we don't know. It could be one of those situations where it's still Brian Burns. It could be a Dallas Turner situation from last year was as much as they love this guy, even though they invested the number 3 overall pick in him, they've got 2 very capable guys ahead of them. Now,
they don't need him, right?
Right, they don't.
Like they're not going anywhere as a franchise this season.
That was the thing, was they were kind of stuck because no one wanted to trade up to 3. They were like, we'll do it. We'll take Shedeur Sanders. Please God, someone come get this 3rd overall pick.
They should have traded up. That was the team that needed to trade up.
Right.
Truly. Like, they messed up not getting to 2 and getting Hunter.
Can you imagine Travis Hunter playing DB but then playing alongside Malik Neighbors? I mean, my God.
Dude, that defense is, I mean, like, Abdul Carter adding that to that defense is filthy.
Right.
But, I mean, that defense was going to be good either way. Mm-hmm. I mean, so, yeah, you got to feel like they kind of mess up a little bit not getting Travis Hunter. Although, have you seen the stuff about Travis Hunter? Like, Brian Thomas Jr. is getting a little fed up with his antics. He's dancing too much.
It's just so funny. It's just like, shut the hell up. Like, you're going to be, this dude's jersey is going to sell out when he is like clearly the best, like a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, like in the first month of the season.
Yeah, just
everyone shut up. Just shut the hell up. Just stop being crotchety old men.
Yeah, Twitter, once they started doing the thing where they're paying people for
the worst takes.
engagement, man, it's just...
I saw a
it's
funny
not
one
good.
that was like, yeah, back in the 1950s, your grandparents ate butter and beef tallow and they lived to 100. I'm like, what the hell kind of age expectancy are you looking at? Live to 100? They were dropping dead at 65 from heart attacks.
Yeah, they were all
The
dead.
hell are you talking about? They were ripping cigs. Like, they all died of lung cancer before they hit 70.
Yeah, it was tough times back then.
Yeah, like Twitter. Elon now has left Doge. Like, now he's got Twitter all to himself. Like, we are in for a rough... And Twitter's been going out a lot recently. It was out on the DMs for like 3 days last week.
Yeah, right. You weren't
Went
getting
down on the
likes.
first day of free agency this
That's
year.
right.
Dear God.
That was hard.
If you've built your business off the back of Twitter, you are sweating bullets because that platform feels like a ship that is taking on water.
Luckily, there's nothing else to really compete with it. Threads is a joke. What was that? Blue Sky?
Blue
was
Sky, yeah. A lot of
Some people
pedophiles
still,
on
some
there.
people still have Blue Sky. They're find me at Blue Sky.
Right. You
pinned.
don't have to do that, guys. We will never find you
No.
at Blue Sky.
No one's over there.
No one will
one's
find
going.
you there.
No one's going there, guys.
So, anyways, I don't know how we got there talking about Abdul Carter. I am very bullish on Abdul Carter for Dynasty. I just think for year one, you're going to have to be patient with this guy because I think the most likely outcome is probably short of what most people's outcome is in their mind. I think the market is going to say, this dude was a 3rd overall pick. He's going to eat in his rookie year. I just don't see that being the case.
Yeah, like weeks 1 through 8, his snap share probably 40 to 60%, right?
I would think
and then
so.
weeks 9 through whatever, you probably see him more in the 60 to 70% range, right?
That's what I would love to see. Kayvon's going to be motivated now to play well and go get himself a bag next off because what's funny is he's going to be in the Brian Burns situation.
Yep.
Where the team kind of is looking to move on from him. The Panthers were rebuilding. They wanted to cash out. They did not want to be the team paying Brian Burns. And so Brian Burns, even though he is still under contract, is going to gets traded to the Giants for, I think, a 2nd-round pick, gets signed. And so Kayvon's going to be motivated to do the same thing. He knows he's lining up for potential suitors with what he does this season, and he knows he's probably been underwhelming his first, 3 years in the league.
Yeah.
So
still just 24.5 though.
right. It's like I'm optimistic on both those guys, just not for this year.
Right.
Brian Burns, I think, is the guy that you want there.
Yeah, I'm buying both of them.
Right. I've got plenty of Burns. I think I have probably like a 22% share of Burns in D-Up.
Yeah, he's been a nice value, which is odd because he was really, really good last season.
Super solid.
Yeah.
So
We'll get to him.
yes, we will. Let's talk about Pittsburgh Steelers. We mentioned kind of the group of elder statesmen at the position, and this is the guy that I think you can lead off with. TJ Watt, Pittsburgh Steelers. He is my 3rd most rostered player in D-Up, 34.4% of drafts, behind Levante David and Josh Hines-Allen. So thank you, Addy, for that. Levante David, 6th-round pick in most of these drafts.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'll take the guy who's typically a top 15 linebacker, assuming health. Did you see that Bobby Wagner was PFF's number 3 linebacker going into 2025? Isn't that nuts? Not fantasy-wise, just like PFF grade-wise.
Oh, wow.
Bobby Wagner, number 3. That was very surprising.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it seems like Bobby maybe has lost a step. I didn't know if you'd seen that yet. It kind of caught me by surprise.
No, I didn't see where they ranked everybody.
Yes, they put that out recently on
All positions, like a top 12 thing.
I think is the one I saw was linebackers. And I think it was top 15 linebackers for 2025, just by like PFF grade. So I was kind of surprised to see that. I'll have to pull up the tweet and we can kind of talk about some of the other names. I think Zach Bond was Fred was number 1, and then maybe Bond was number 2.
Yeah, he's probably up there.
Wagner was 3. That's the one that jumped out to me. Let's talk TJ Watt. Thank you, Eddie. Your number 1 best ball asset because of that game-breaking upside. Here's what we're talking about. 300-point seasons, 300-plus point seasons, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, or 2023. He was injured in 2022. That's why you did not see that. IDP 4 last year in a down year for TJ Watt. I think this Edge 9 ranking for Dynasty, Addy, this is including a lot of that downside of the age, the injury history we've seen with TJ Watt. Although I will say he has played 17 games the last 2 seasons, and he has played, this was shocking, 939 snaps in 2024. That was most amongst edge rushers. Do you realize that?
That's impressive.
That the snap leader was TJ Watt last year. PFF grades, 92.2 overall, third amongst edge rushers, 90.1 pass rush grade, that was sixth. 91.4 run defense, that was first. He had 56 tackles, just a 9.2% pressure rate, though, 13.3% pass rush. I knew I was going to mess it up at some point. Damn it. Pass rush win rate tied for 37th. I think, tell me if you agree, I think Watt is the number one contender piece in all of IDP. I don't think he's worth a first anymore because he's 30.6 years old. You have the trade value at a second plus a fourth. If I was in a playoff push, I'd pay that no problem.
Yeah, he's still worth it. I mean, he's still going to be seeing the same TJ Watt in 3 years, I think. Like, I think we're still going to be talking about, oh, this dude is...
Do you think there's that kind of window left for Watt?
I think so. Went over 30 points 3 times in 2024. That was first.
Tied for first
with Trey Hendrickson and Leonard Williams.
Just as we all expected. Leonard Williams, right. Big L there in Seattle.
Yep, Leonard Williams and AVG. Yep.
Your IDP heroes for 2024.
Yeah,
we love this game. Very predictable.
It's a great game.
Very fun.
It's a great reminder, though. I mean, that's why you don't want to go.
That's why
nuts.
You stack your offense the first 15
Exactly
rounds.
right, man, because you can find these guys. Nick Benito, another guy. But yeah, I mean, I still feel very, very good about TJ Watt. DL4 in points per game last season, DL1 in 2023, DL9 in 2022. And I mean, he might be a little motivated too, right? I mean, he's
that's the thing. Keep an eye on quietly negotiating a new deal with Pittsburgh. So I think it'll get done. I don't think there's anything to worry about if you're a Steelers fan. I think it will give us a big hint at how his career might end.
He did do some cryptic tweeting, I think, or
did he?
Or gramming at one point.
That's these youngins. You know,
they're just
they operate a little differently.
Yeah, and they're
scrub the
trying to get
Instagram.
some leverage, with these contract situations. Like, it makes sense, and it works a lot of times. It was a slow news day. Like, there was people talking about it. I think it was like maybe he posted just a peace emoji or something, and that's all it takes. DJ wants out.
He's out. He's done. He wants to go play in Buffalo.
He's retiring like his brother.
Yeah, no, I guess, JJ, I was thinking of the Bosa bros. That's I think it gets done. And I think I think it's going to be important to pay attention to what this deal looks like. If it's like a 3 or 4 year extension, I think that indicates to me hey, both sides kind of acknowledge I'm going to wrap up my career in Pittsburgh. If it's like a 1 year deal or a 2 year deal with an out after year one, it may be a little bit like, look, we don't want to pay you $40 million when you're 31, 32 years old. So just something to pay attention to for Dynasty, especially because we love that continuity with the same team, teammates, defensive coordinator, head coach, all that. If that changes, it just changes the equation a little bit for TJ Watt.
Yeah, it's a good point. It would drop him a little bit in the ranks, I'd say, if it was like a 1 or 2 year deal. But I don't expect it to be. I think it's going to be 4 years and it's going to rival Myles Garrett.
I think if I was to guess, I think it will slot in right below Myles Garrett just because of the age difference. I think Parsons will slot in above Garrett because, again, of the age. I found the tweet. This is top 10. It's teasing their article, top 32 linebackers going into 2025 per Mason Cameron of PFF. Fred Warner, Zach Bond, Bobby Wagner, Roquan Smith, Dre Greenlaw at 5. That was very surprising.
Wow. He should have reached out to Macri, whoever this fella is.
Yeah, come on, Mason. This is, again, just for NFL purposes, not for IDP fantasy football. Bobby Okereke at number 6, Devin Lloyd at number 7, Jack Campbell, number 8. Edge Cooper at 9. Love that. TJ Edwards at 10.
That's what I'm saying. It's fantasy, we still have a better pulse.
I think so. I think we know who the good guys are.
Yeah, we're just more,
we're the smartest and the bestest.
We are. Yeah,
it's undeniable.
We don't make any mistakes.
Never, ever.
We see everything coming. So,
speaking of seeing things coming, that could be a very bad setup depending on what I was going to say next. But we're going to talk about Dallas Turner. What's to come with the Minnesota Vikings second-year edge rusher? Disappointing rookie season. We mentioned it earlier, but 22.1 years old, just 300 defensive snaps last year, 28%, 20 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 pick, 64.1 overall PFF grade, 65th amongst edge rushers, just a 5.8% pass rush win rate. That was 110th, 8.3% pressure rate, 106th. DL 214 in points per game with 4, and DL 176 in total points, 64.7.
Bust.
Big old bust. Pat Jones is gone. Keep that in mind. Did play 459 snaps. That was 46% for the Minnesota Vikings. Addie, this is your baby. The Minnesota Vikings are your team. I can promise you are going to be the highest on Dallas Turner across Dynasty rankings. I promise if you look at anyone else's, Dallas Turner is probably in that 20-plus range, if I had to guess.
Yes.
So let's make the case, because there will be some people asking, well, if everyone else is so low on him, why are you so high on Dallas Turner?
Well, I mean, I was also the highest on him when he was a rookie too. He was edge one for me in the class. I loved them all. I loved Latu. I loved Verse as well. Like they were all. It was those guys were the top 3, I think, in the IDP only ranks as far as rookie goes. He's in a bad spot. You know, it's opportunity with him. Like if you look, I mean, 20 tackles, 3 sacks on 28% of the snaps, not bad. Let's just double the snap share. Like if he got 40 tackles, 6 sacks, 2 INTs, like I think we're looking at this dude like a Chop Robinson type, right? Like I think the conversations would be a lot more excited about him, but it's gonna be slow. It's gonna be slow for him for a little bit, and even year 2 doesn't look that great. Like they just brought Van Ginkel back for a lot of money. Jonathan Grenard is under contract, and they're paying him a lot of money, and he was great last year. So it's just gonna be an opportunity thing for him. He's gonna have to really ball if he wants to overtake either one of those. Like I think he could.
He feels like, unfortunately, an injury guy.
He's gonna have to ball, and AVG or Grenard is going to have to take a step back.
Or get hurt,
Right.
I just don't know that he's going to get the opportunity to make enough of an impression to earn more snaps over these guys.
Yeah. No, I don't think he really will either. I mean, I'm expecting like 40 to 50% snap share for Dallas Turner next season, and that's not enough for him to really be rostered in redraft, right?
Redraft, again, shouldn't be on your radar for 2025. This, I think...
No shares in best ball.
This could be a situation where...
I have him ranked DL 71.
Right, because he's just going to be a non-factor.
So if you're mad at me about the Dynasty rankings, remember, I also do redraft and best ball. Okay?
You can get those on the IDPshow.com. They're included for $5 a month. You get all that and the draft
and
kit.
Those are also valuable from a Dynasty lens as well, in my opinion. Like if you're a contender, like you should be interested in who am I high on for 2025.
Yeah, and Dallas Turner,
I'm not.
Maybe a guy that is not even 2026, could be 2027.
Yeah, that's kind of how it
year 4, it feels like maybe. So you're going to just have to be patient with this guy.
Hopefully not. Surely to God, 2026 is his year. And I understand, like...
And is Grenard a free agent going into 26?
I think it was a 3-year deal for him.
So 24, 25, 26. So he wouldn't be a free agent until 27.
And like Grenard, if he continues his play, like that's going to be looked at like a value, that contract.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like a 3-year 50 something. It was like the Bryce Huff contract.
Yeah.
Which I saw where... the Eagles have Bryce Huff on the trade block. Like no one is trading for him. Like no one's gonna do that.
It's like putting your. It's like if we put like Le'Veon Bell on the trade block in our fantasy league.
Right.
Like what? What are you doing? This guy has like negative value. He's literally a roster clogger. I just don't think that the lane is going to open up for him short of injury, which we don't want. We love both of these guys, AVG and Jonathan Grenard. But, yeah.
But in 2026, I think there's a much better chance for him to force his way into like a much better snap share, and also like maybe being like first or second as far as like snaps among those edge rushers.
That's what you would hope if you're rostering this guy. Do you think it is possible he maybe gets more look at linebacker this year than at edge? He did play a little bit of linebacker. The 2 guys that are the presumed starters, and Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace, not the healthiest guys in the world,
right?
Historically. So
yeah, I mean, we could see him, get used there a little bit. I think last year he actually had a pick 6 when they did that, and actually I remember that. Like I like to go back and watch mic'd up a lot when these guys get mic'd up. In that game where he had that pick 6, Brian Flores singled him out on the sideline and was saying a star is born
Really?
to him.
So
and that was towards the end of the year.
Brian Flores knows what he has in Dallas Turner.
Yes.
I'm sure it's one of those things where it's just like, I would love to get you on the field more, but
guys, it's Grenard and Van Ginkel. They were awesome.
They were awesome.
These were like 2 All-Pros last year.
Truly.
Like, I mean, they were great.
I thought AVG should have really had more consideration for Depoy.
he really should have.
Now, do you think that Dallas Turner could just slot right into the Pat Jones role, 46% of snaps?
I
That's
expect
kind of what I'm expecting.
I expect it to. Like
45 to 50% of snaps, I think, would be a reasonable expectation.
Yeah, I think we could see him double his snaps this year, but again, that's still not enough. I have him as DL 71 in redraft and best ball format.
If either of these guys go down, we will be rushing to the
my
waiver
God.
wire in redraft leagues to get this guy.
And that maybe is a move. Like if you want to just hold him, if you have a spot where you could stash him.
Well, if you have AVG or Grenard and you have a taxi squad, or you're talking
if you have
like,
either one, exactly. That's a good point. Like either one of them, it doesn't like.
That's right. I think he slots in for either one.
Yeah.
If either of these guys go down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's kind of a smart move because I mean I think he would be like. I mean, you could probably copy and paste the production that you're used to out of Grenard and Van Ginkel.
I think he would hit the ground running.
Level.
Yes. I think it may be a little bit of time just for him to get up to speed, but let's say like an injury happened like week 2 or 3 to these guys and they're out for the year. I think Dallas Turner is in consideration for starting edge for your IDP squad like by mid-season probably, if not sooner.
And then if that were to happen, I think that he would shut the door on whoever was behind him. Like,
I think it'd be hard to put that genie back in the bottle
exactly.
once you see what you've got with Dallas Turner. So
just another level of athleticism with Dallas Turner.
Right.
He just moves. He's 22, He's
printed on the same assembly line we've seen a lot of these guys come from, right? You saw Penn State, right? We kind of look at Abdul Carter as like mini Micah Parsons 2.0. Same thing, Will Anderson and Dallas Turner. I kind of look at these guys the same way, right?
Yeah. Little undersized,
but like athletic as hell, 5-star program, like blue blood program, pedigree galore, great draft capital. Just be patient. I think the best
good
is yet
system,
to come.
good,
right,
good defensive coach, like
best defensive coach in the NFL.
He's going to be coached up. Like it'll come for him eventually. Like I understand, like you're going to have to be patient. So I mean, this is probably too high, and it's going to be too high for this year. But he's coming. He is eventually going to come. I think
he's going to be a trade target of mine. And we'll talk about it in the part 2 video. There are some guys later on down this list that I think could be good, like veteran contributors for like playoff bound fantasy teams. And if you're headed in the other direction and you want to cash out on a guy and get a Dallas Turner plus, I think you'll be able to do that, assuming the season goes how we think it will with both these guys being healthy. Maybe Dallas Turner gets a 45 to 50% snap share. He's a guy I want to try to invest in late in the season and try to snag when people are making pushes for the playoffs, and Dallas Turner's not in their lineup.
Right.
So it's kind of like, what if I can just swap one of these roster spots that I'm kind of burning right now with Dallas Turner for one of these other guys who's balling out?
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind as we go along here. But let's go back to New York, Addy. We've already talked Abdul Carter. Now let's talk Brian Burns, your edge 11. I feel like the spotlight has been taken off of Brian Burns a little bit because of the addition of Abdul Carter, because of the mystery now surrounding Kayvon Thibodeau and what that does for Kayvon Thibodeau's future in New York. But you mentioned it. I mean, Brian Burns was quietly fantastic last year. DL 7 in points per game, 14.8. DL 8 in total points. I mean, you look at the previous 2 seasons, DL 32 in points per game in 2023, 12.4. DL 33 in total points. 2022, he was better by points per game, DL 10, 15.4 points per game, but he actually scored more in 2024 than he did in 2022. So by a lot of accounts, this was, if not Brian Burns' best season, one of his best.
Yeah, and you got to also think that he's probably happy where he is. A team wanted him enough, to pay him, 25+ mil per year.
Trade a second-round pick for him.
Right. And then, yeah, I mean, he produces for them, and the defense has gotten better. They're going to be hard to handle. So, I mean, yeah, I think we can kind of expect Brian Burns to be in this 14 to 15 points per game range. And then just still 26. I mean, same story that we've mentioned with these other guys. Like, I expect to still be talking highly about Brian Burns, when he's in his early 30s. Just slept on. He's been forever slept on. But he's good. He's an asset that I want. And he's not someone that really, I don't think is going to cost that much. I feel like you could have probably gotten Brian Burns for like a third plus,
right?
Or in like a rookie draft or something.
Slept on is the perfect way to describe it, because it really is. This dude is just not appreciated. He falls in that like weird sort of middle class of edge rusher where he's not in the elite group. Like, I think the cutoff for that is TJ Watt in this list here. And
he just never really reached that next level.
Right. I mean, we're giving him his flowers for a great season. It was 250 points.
Yeah.
Great season, but well short of that kind of ceiling that we're talking about for the elite guys. I don't see him in that elite category for IDP, but he's also not like firmly in that DL2 category. Like some of the guys we're going to talk about, especially in the next episode, are very clearly like edge 2 for your team. Brian Burns has always been right on that really weird sort of in between of like, is he like, do you feel great if he's your edge 1? You feel fantastic if he's your edge 2, but he kind of falls through the cracks a little bit. I feel like in kind of the dynasty kind of viewpoint here.
Yeah. He's one of those guys where like some years you're going to feel good about him as your edge 1, but then he'll take a slight step back right the next year. That's kind of how it's been for him. It's like he'll get to 14 points per game, then he's going to bump back to 12. Now we're going to go to 15. Now it's bump back. That's just how he's been so far.
And by the way, I would not be shocked if that's what happened this year with Brian Burns.
Yeah.
If he took a little bit of a step back.
Right.
There's more competition there now with Abdul Carter. And Dexter Lawrence hopefully will be healthy the whole season. Right. He can eat some sacks as well.
Yeah, and I do feel like the market is also probably going to be a little. That's why I think we're seeing him, be a value in these D-up drafts. You can get him in the third round. I think.
Yeah, let me see where he's going right
now. With Abdul coming to town, Kayvon's there. I think people are a little scared of Brian Burns, but I expect Burns to be the guy that leads out of that group.
He's the guy I want. He's the only guy of this trio that I am actively drafting
for 2025.
For 2025, that's right. Yeah, so he is going right now as the 20th overall player. He's going in between Jonathan Grenard and Nick Bolton. So he's basically, because it's a 10 team draft on D-Up, he is the end of the second round.
Yeah. I haven't drafted him at the end of the second. I've been getting him in the third.
Yeah, I mean, that tells me you could probably get him in the third.
Yeah.
So because that's typically where you see a lot of these linebackers start to come off the board in D-Up. Because you look right around him, it's Frankie Louvu, Quincy Williams, your boy, Caden Ellis, Edrin Cooper, Spillane, Cashman, Henley, Jones, Ernest Jones, and then you get the Josh Allen at 32, Nick Bonito at 33. Insane rostership on both those guys.
I love that range for those guys.
Oh my gosh, it is so sick.
The linebackers are all the same, like from rounds 3 through 6. It's like I'll just take the ones.
They're all great. Like I feel awesome about all these guys. There's a reason I have,
but I don't want to reach on like Ernest Jones.
Right. It's kind of a dead zone a little bit.
Yeah, Nick Bolton.
Yeah,
forever going to fade Nick Bolton, of course. But there's a lot of those guys that I'm just not really willing.
But even like I love Frankie Louvu. I've got plenty of exposure to Louvu. I don't have a lot of exposure to Quincy. But like I would just rather go with some of the DL that are going in that range. Like Fred Warner is going Daniil Hunter is going a few picks before Frankie Louvu. I'd rather go with Daniil Hunter there. He's at 14 overall. Louvu's at 17 overall. Grenard goes there. Brian Burns goes after him. Highsmith is really high up in these. He's 22 overall. That's a little rich for me. But yeah, I would rather just shop in that DL bucket because the linebacker value, oh my God, it is so juicy in rounds 4, 5, and 6.
And there's still a lot of guys that aren't getting drafted that are going to be very valuable, like Cody Barton, a guy that I think could smash this
Josie
season.
Jewell is usually there for me 5th, 6th round.
Peyton Wilson, a guy that probably doesn't get drafted in most of these. Like,
probably him and Ivan Pace are my 2 favorite like linebacker dart throws. Yes, like if things break right for them, they could be top 12 guys. And then like hat tip to you, Will McDonald. I've drafted some Chop Robinson there.
Yaya should be another candidate. I think Yaya could.
The DL I want to take in that 6th round is very much like who do I think could lead the league in sacks?
Khalil
like
Mack
surprise. Yeah, Khalil Mack. I've taken him a lot there in the 6th round. So
Karlaftis, I like Karlaftis quite a bit there.
Brian Burns absolutely being slept on though. 20th overall. He just that's the best way I think I've described him that way before is like he just kind of falls through the cracks a little bit. Because he's not in that elite category. He's not in that very clearly edge 2 category. He's just somewhere in the middle.
He's also, I guess, maybe like the teams he's played for, that probably doesn't help him. You know, Carolina. Yeah. Now he's with the Giants. Just been a part of some bad teams. Easy to overlook, I'd say.
I wanted to this bolded stat you have here at the bottom.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, that's a good nug. What do we got?
7 games over 20 fantasy points in 2024. This was tied for most among all defensive linemen.
That's very surprising.
Very surprising, isn't it?
Did not expect him to be the guy with that stat.
And folks, you have access to those numbers as well. You can get there and sort by who had the most games under 5 points, who had the most games under 10 points, who had the most games over 10 points, had the most games over 15, over 20, over 30. You can sort by weeks 1 through 9, weeks 10 through 18.
That's my favorite because I love to draft guys that finish the season strong because that's the most recent football we've seen, and I like when people end on an upswing and not a downswing.
There's just not enough fantasy football specific data, and that's what we're trying to do over here at the IDP show. And this is the start of it. Like we've got a lot of stuff in the works right now, and we're hoping to 3x this thing out.
Oh, absolutely.
Now.
So mentioning kind of tools and resources for you all. If you did not see, we have the IDP Draft Assistant for free. It is pulled from Mike Wollert's 2025 IDP projections. We have 4 different scoring presets, kind of representing this spectrum from tackle heavy to balance to big play. So you can find one that is closest to your scoring system, or if you're a paid supporter, you can download Mike's projections and change the scoring so that it will adapt and give you customized projections. But the IDP Draft Assistant is free to use. You can go in there, put in, hey, with this scoring, should I draft this guy or this guy? And it will spit out customized recommendations, highest scores based on that scoring system. So make sure you go check that out. And Brian Burns, I've got some exposure to him in D-Up. He's a guy I'm excited about for 2025, and I think for Dynasty probably deserves more love than he has been getting.
Not afraid to draft him this year at all.
Not at all. Let's wrap up, though, Addy, with the Buffalo Bills. Gregory Rousseau is your edge 12. And newly paid, congrats to Greg Rousseau, 4-year, $80 million extension. That felt a little rich at the time, but then you see like Myles Garrett is getting 2 times that much AAV. Is Myles Garrett twice the edge rusher? Greg Rousseau, maybe he is.
Yeah, probably.
Probably, but it is kind of nuts that they were able to get this guy for $20 million a year, because I wouldn't necessarily call Rousseau like a locked and loaded edge one for an NFL team. But he's pretty darn close. And so if you can get him for $20 million a year, congratulations, Bills. I think that's a hell of a deal. But let's talk Rousseau here a little bit, Addy. We finally got what we wanted in 2024. 71% of snaps. This has always been the bugaboo with Greg Rousseau. And he held up really well with that higher volume of snaps. 83.1 overall PFF grade. That was 12th amongst edge rushers. 81.9 pass rush grade. That was 13th. 13.6% pressure rate. 16% win rate. That was 15th amongst edge rushers. Again, we mentioned the extension. They still have A.J. Epinesa, but they also added Joey Bosa, Michael Hoyt, Landon Jackson, rookie in the draft. Unlike Mad Maxx, where I worry a little bit that the new deal might bring down his snap total, Rousseau was not at some like astronomical 95% number like Mad Maxx, so I think he'll stay around 70% of snaps. I wondered a little bit with Brian Burns Is he an edge 2? Is he an edge 1? I think for Dynasty, he is firmly in that edge 2 group for your team, especially for redraft. Like, if Rousseau is my edge 1 in Dynasty, I better be loaded at linebacker. But Rousseau, slept on asset, had a very nice season in 2024.
Yes. 14.1 points per game. That was DL17. And then, DL12 in total points with 225. And now, I do expect him to come back a little bit, right? Just because we haven't seen him consistently produce to that level, right? And you feel like it's going to tick back a little bit. Now, the tackles were good for Rousseau. That was nice to see. So, I mean, you feel good about the floor. But I just worry that the ceiling with the sacks isn't going to be that great. Like, he doesn't seem like a guy that's going to really ever be more than like a 10 to 12 type, right?
I think if you have your expectations set appropriately, where you aren't looking at him as, that's why I'm saying, if you're looking at him as your edge 1, you're in trouble. You better be loaded elsewhere, because this guy, the ceiling is not just there. Like, we are hyped up for the season he just had, and it's 60 points shy of what Myles Garrett gives you in a typical year.
And you're probably not relying on him
so.
as that, or have him in that position, just because he's been such a value up until this
Right.
point. Like, he was slept on, and he was, it was always that question of, like, is the snap share ever going to be great enough? But a good reminder that just trust the talent. Like, all the PFF stuff with him was great. The pressure rate was improving every single year. You just gotta stay patient. Good players, their snap share will come, and that's what we're seeing. With
He said
Rousseau.
Rostering Dallas Turner.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It will come.
Look, I
will
don't
come.
doubt that it will come. So,
Somebody's coming.
Somebody's coming. Is it going to be Joey Bosa potentially coming to ruin Greg Rousseau's party? Now,
He's already hurt.
I was going to say something hilarious, which was, let's assume Joey Bosa stays healthy, which we know that's not going to happen. But there is more firepower now along this Buffalo defensive line. This is a hell of a rotation they've got alongside Ed Oliver now with Rousseau, Epinesa, Bosa, Hoyt, Landon Jackson. I mean, that is for depth. That's one of the better edge rooms, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah. I liked Landon Jackson quite a bit too.
I was surprised he fell as far as he did.
But he's huge. He's like
Right.
6'7", really, really good athlete. He was like a 9-point-something RAS. So, I mean, has the make. He always reminded me a little bit of Maxx Crosby, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a little bit of that makeup, and the traits that you look for. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely interesting. But cream will still rise. Rousseau is the cream of this group still.
They paid him.
And then Bosa is literally banged up right now.
Yes, he is. He's out until training camp.
Good God.
I'm like, that's not until July. Like, are we talking something really serious here? It was a hammy.
Yeah.
Don't love that.
Not
Don't
great,
love that.
man.
But do love Greg Rousseau. I think he is, even though he's your Dynasty Edge 12, I think he is that we're transitioning now to, like, these should be Edge 2s for your team.
Yeah. But with Rousseau, like, I think we could expect to see, like, the best production of his career these next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Maybe it ticks down in this next year just because it was really good last year. But I mean, we could see him have a career year. I think in the next 2 or 3.
I'm surprised. Only 25.2.
Yeah, he's young, isn't he?
Feels like he should be older than that.
He was slept on. He was slept on when he came out as a rookie too. He was like a late first. I was very high on Rousseau. I actually like Rousseau better.
That's a kind of a dead zone for edge rushers being drafted, though. For as many hits as you get,
that late first, you never
get
know.
a lot of, you get the Marcus Davenports, like the
Yeah.
Saints trading back up for him.
Yep.
You've got some hits there as well. But
Yeah,
Joe
Montez Sweat
Tryon,
was like
Shoyinka was like 23rd or 4th overall with the Bucks.
Dafe Owe, a lot of those
Right.
types.
So
right.
it's pretty checkered, but he has definitely bucked the trend. And I mean, big payday.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo is looking at him at a time when they really have, like, what would you say? Him, Terrell Bernard, Ed Oliver seem like the guys that
Cole Bishop.
Yeah, I heard it was funny. I heard someone talking about Buffalo, I just don't think they did enough to address the secondary. Like, who are their safeties? I was like, have you not heard of Cole Bishop, guys?
They don't know. No one knows.
No one knows who this guy is.
They'll find out.
Yeah, they'll find out soon enough. Well,
Please, God, I was high on that, dude.
please don't make us look foolish,
Yeah.
Cole Bishop. We need you to come through for us one last time.
I believe. I still believe. And that's another thing. Like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to get out on these guys if they
don't bail.
start slow.
Don't
Like,
panic.
I mean,
This is
you gotta
Dynasty.
have some conviction.
Have
folks.
a little bit of a window here.
And also, it's like we were never in a position. At least I'm not. I don't put myself in a spot where I'm relying on these rookies.
Don't do it.
anytime soon.
Don't do it.
In fact, like we've mentioned, like I'm not drafting any rookies.
Yeah, that's been
in
my
best ball
big
and
takeaway.
redraft. Like,
Yeah.
but also like in these rookie drafts this year, like I'm not looking at rookies, the IDP rookies until like, fourth round, third, maybe a third. If like a Monowari were to slip. Like
I was going to
third.
try to trade back into the third if he was there at like 311 or 310.
But even so,
But he
there's
went at
still,
301, I think.
And there's still some times where it's like I'm kind of scared to. I'm kind of scared to push the button, like, because there'll be like Jarquez Hunter there,
Right,
like Woody
right.
Marks. It's like, this could potentially be a lot more valuable if this running back hits as opposed to this safety, like where they're maxed out, like as like a second round value as far as trade value goes.
Where I ended up getting back in, I think, was 405 for Jaden Blue.
Yeah,
Right? That's the guy I traded back in for. It wasn't
Right.
the Amanwari
Yep.
or any of those defensive guys. I mean, yeah, that's been my big takeaway playing Dynasty now for as long as we have is like, just fade the hell out of the rookies because people get, way ahead of themselves with they truly get rookie fever.
Yeah.
And I think it fries their brain a little bit where they're just thinking these guys are going to come in and be world beaters. And it's like the hit rate for rookies being just productive NFL players is probably 50-50.
Right.
And so being fantasy contributors year one is like probably less than a 10% chance for most of these guys. And so I just don't want to bank on that. I'll just scoop up the value and let all these rookies and hype bunnies from, year 2, year 3 players go way earlier than they should.
Right. Yeah. More than likely you're going to be let down if you have that mindset where you're going to draft all these young guys. But yeah, I mean, I love it when they add the rookies. When
it's
we add
the best.
when
in
we add these
Sleeper,
rookies to these drafts, man, just because like they get so far overdrafted and
the
like,
value.
you just get so much better value. So it's
So
always
good.
a nice time when that happens.
Come draft with us. I know Scott and Jake are filling some best ball drafts over there with IDP Drafts, their show. And D up if you want to come. They have a rookie game. It's offensive rookies only, but the defensive rookies are sprinkled in. We mentioned Abdul Carter is going, I think, somewhere in the third round right now.
Thank you.
28 overall, so he's back into the third. No, thank you. But if you want to draft over there, if you think Abdul Carter is going to smash and you are happy to take him at 28 overall, come on over. Code IDP Show, $50 deposit match. And the contest is halfway filled, so time is running out, especially if you're like me and you want a max center.
That's just bad process, folks, though, with the Abdul Carter in the
Right.
third. I mean, like, what do you expect him to do year one? Like 10 sacks, right? 10 sacks?
If he was walking into a situation where he was very clearly the only guy in the room,
Like, that's like the ceiling, right? 10 to 12 sacks.
if he was walking into a perfect situation for fantasy production, which he is not.
Right. Yeah, like,
Year
I could
one.
believe that maybe he gets there, but it's still more likely it's probably 7 to 10, just based on the snap share.
If Kayvon goes down and it's just very clearly him and Brian Burns, then I think we could talk about a ceiling outcome. But even then, what does that look like?
And why would you draft that in the third round when you can literally get a guy like Brian Burns potentially, or Josh Hines Allen, who has put on record like 17 sacks in a season?
We have
Like,
seen it. Literally going, he's at 28, and then at 31, we just mentioned him, Greg Rousseau, 32, Josh Allen, 33, Nick Benito. What are we doing, guys?
Yeah, so get in these drafts. Like there's
There-
people making bad decisions.
Yes, there is. The ADP is pretty sharp, but it is also very exploitable because the market has not quite caught up yet, and rookie fever is still infecting some people's brains.
Like I think like if I look at my best ball ranks, I think I have Abdul Carter probably as like overall IDP 70, something like that.
Yeah.
Like a DL 30 to 40 range, I'd say. So
acknowledge that it could happen, but it's just unlikely. That's not a
Unlikely.
bet I want to make.
I'm not drafting him. I'm
Right.
not going to have him.
So thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you checking out this episode, Top 24 Dynasty Edge Rushers, Part 1. 1 through 12. We will be back for 13 through 24 next time. Hopefully, Bobo will be here with us, and we will take you guys through 13 to 24. We're going to be doing this all summer. We've got top 24 Dynasty safeties. We've got top 48 Dynasty linebackers because y'all are sickos and love that kind of stuff. I was putting the kind of spreadsheet together for upcoming episodes. We've got Justin Varnes going to be on the program later this summer. Guys, he can't stop drafting. So
that linebacker episode is going to be like 6 hours.
It legit might kill us. We might keel over dead finishing that thing. But we do it for you all, the people, because we love you.
That's tough. And that's like that position's tough. I mean, for 48 Dynasty linebackers, like I'm not going to feel good about half that list.
Yeah,
truly.
You're going to catch a lot of hell on YouTube.
We could have done easily 48 for the edge position.
Oh, no doubt.
Like easy. Linebacker, it's tough and it's scary. It's like those the bottom can fall out.
I'm shivering.
I am very afraid, but the bottom can fall to those linebackers a lot more easily than it can the other position groups, right?
Did you say edge 48 because it's Tyree Wilson, who was your only existing edge rusher in our main Dynasty league before the auction?
That's right.
The only guy there. Yeah, but that's like Boye Mafe, Kwity Paye, Donovan Ezeraku. Josh Sweat is there for you. Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, those guys are.
Harold Landry is past that. Jalix Hunt, Jonah Ellis, Jalen Phillips. We could have done
lots
50 plus at edge.
Lots of meat, lots of guys that'll probably go up another level. So it's just not that way with linebackers.
No, it's not. Yeah, let's look just to give the people a little preview. Linebacker gets pretty grim. Kenneth Murray is your linebacker 48.
Yeah.
Linebacker 47, Troy Anderson, Jermaine Pratt, Tremaine Edmonds.
So it's not sexy. It's not that fun.
You don't feel as great about it, let's say that. But
not much upside with that group.
We know you love linebackers, so we're going to do it, damn it. And you're going to love it. So check it out, theidpshow.com. The draft kit is out. We're updating it constantly throughout the offseason. You all just put a fresh coat of paint on the rookie rankings. Jason King, Scott Soltis doing those for us. Mike has his projections up. He just put out 5 players that are overvalued and undervalued for D-Up. He's got his DB rankings and tiers breakdown coming here in a week or so. So make sure you check it out, folks. And then youtube.com/@theIDPshow. Come follow us over there. We've got some great stuff cranking for you all. Scott Soltis just this last week put out some deep dive rookie pick options if you're in 9 to 10 round rookie drafts, some insanely deep targets. Jace Abbey had a fantastic video. What are your 2025 rookie picks worth? If you want to trade out, who are some IDPs that you could trade those picks for? So make sure you check out the YouTube as well. Next week, we've got some great episodes coming for you all. IDP Drafts is going to be doing a rookie recap. The IDP After Show, we're starting our divisional previews with the NFC and AFC West. Jeff Palmazal will have Joey the Tooth on to talk those teams and the relevant IDPs. And like I said, we will be back in a couple weeks talking Dynasty Edge Rushers 13 to 24. You don't want to miss it. Until then, y'all take care. We'll see you soon.
It's the IDP